78 billion euros. And the socialists also negotiated the financial adjustment program, which was essentially the program that the next government of Portugal would need to follow so that we could receive those 78 billion euros. And in 2011, when the elections came, the socialists were defeated and the center and center-left coalition won with a majority, and they were the ones responsible for making sure that the financial adjustment program would be followed so that we could receive the money that we so needed to make sure that this country would not actually be bankrupt. So what did the media and the socialists did at this point? Even though the socialists were the ones that negotiated the program, but since they didn't win the elections, their objective was to smear the government, making sure that they could not follow the program, and so failing at getting the money that Troika would or was lending us, because Troika would visit Portugal every once in a while to make sure that we were following the program, and if we were, we would get another check. We would not get the entirety of the 78 billion euros. We would get it in parts. And the socialists were trying to make sure that the program failed, even though they were the ones negotiating that program, so that they could say, you see, the center and center-left can't do anything, so let's go to elections and vote us in. They failed that part because the government lasted the full 4 years that a typical government in Portugal lasts. But the media was pushing this narrative for 4 years. 4 years of left propaganda against the government that was following the program that the socialists negotiated with Troika. And it was quite funny to see this happening, because at least the part of the population that would appear in on the TV or on the newspapers sharing their opinions about the situation, they would side with the socialists. Why? Because the Troika program had things like cuts to the pensioners, cuts to the public servants, and of course those people in Portugal have a voice, and every media outlet will be happy to give you that voice and say what you want, even though it's a lie, even though it's not the truth. They will give you that platform. So for 4 years the media pushed this, even though Troika as a whole was happy with how the program was followed, and we went from a deficit of 11% down to 4.4% in 2015. So, as you can see, the media is completely controlled by the Socialist Party and the far left as well, because they have other narratives to push, like the feminist agenda, the identity and gender politics. They are being pushed in Portugal as well by the far left, and the media does their bidding. Every single day we have news about it, and in 2019, for example, we've had a few cases of domestic violence. However, the way that the media pushes for the news about these sorts of things is that when a man strikes a woman or even kills her, then it's domestic violence. But if a woman plots to kill her husband or actually kills her husband, it's not domestic violence. In fact, just a few days ago, we had a tragic case where a woman, apparently depressed, wanted to kill herself, but she didn't do it just to herself. She brought her young 10-year-old daughter and killed her as well, apparently by burning themselves in a car. Quite horrible, but you know how the media spins this? Oh, it's a public health, and the mother was actually trying to spare the daughter of suffering, which is hilarious. And it's even more hilarious because hilarious, although tragic, of course, hilarious in the way that the media tries to spin this. In fact, I think it was in January, there was a case, very similar case, where the result was pretty much the same, and a young child was killed, but this time it was a man. The way that the media talked about this was that the guy was a monster. The guy was a monster. He killed an innocent child, and he is a monster. But the same situation with a woman, then it's a problem of the society, it's a mental health issue, it's everything but the woman's fault. And this is all because of the narrative that the media pushes in Portugal. The man is always to blame, and the woman is always this saint, angel that does nothing, even though they commit as many atrocities as men. So this is what I had to say about the media, and I'll have more in the future, so stay tuned. If you like this, please subscribe and leave a comment. I would certainly love to hear what you have to say about these things, and yeah, see you next time.